There was about dime-sized hail falling before this rain. You can see a lot of leaves and things are down on the road, or maybe it's not showing up that good here. But it is. It's a lot of, it's still some hail coming down. You can hear it coming on the truck. It was so hot today. Yeah, there's still some hail in here. It's melting fast, but you can see it's about dime sized maybe. It is really putting it down. Look at the hail from the back porch. On the back side of the house, it's almost nickel sized. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's melting fast, but there's a lot of it. I wanted to show you right quick the aftermath of that storm. It's just stuff all over the driveway. I mean, we were gonna have to get out here and clean up. I was weeding and planting my rudbeckia when that storm came up. So needless to say, I couldn't finish that. I just had to throw in the towel and run in the house. But this is the mess that I got this morning. Good morning. You're watching Much Ado About Something, and I'm Donna. Well, I'm sitting out on the front porch this morning, and I'm listening to the bird song. And I actually have a blanket. It has been sweltering hot for the last week, but this morning, it's a little bit chilly. And I can't say that I'm not pleased about that. I'm glad that it's a little chilly. It has been really hot. Well, Donald was on staycation last week. He was on vacation, but he just chose to stay at home. We didn't get a lot of projects done. We spent time with people that we loved. We spent time with our grandchildren, with each other. And we didn't get a lot done around here as far as projects around the house. We got a lot of good living done. And that's always good, to spend time together and make memories for our grandchildren and do, important things, finding a balance. I didn't get to film as much last week as I wanted to because we were really busy. But this morning I thought I would just pick up this and talk to you a little bit and share with you my cool morning after having all that sweltering heat and then having that rain, which the rain has done the garden a world of good. I can water with the garden hose with the chlorinated water and not get the results that I see in just one shower. Just one shower of the rain makes such a difference. Now things may look a little disarrayed to the camera here. The hose is still out. There's a robin this morning over there. And things may look disarrayed, but to me, the garden's beautiful. I know the work that's gone into it and value what I have planted out here. And I just enjoy looking at it. I think that after a rain and everything is so perked up, that it's beautiful. It's full. My garden tools are still left out. I was trying to get these things that we had bought at Lowe's planted when that torrential downpour happened. And I had to just throw things down and just stop it. I wasn't even able to finish what I was doing. I was going to clip that off, but... So I still got a little bit of a mess out here and still trying to get some of those things planted. But I'll get that done today, hopefully. But I just wanted to enjoy it. You know, what is good is all the hard work you do if you don't take the time to appreciate what you have. Now, in one of those Lowe's stressed rack plants that Donald bought, he got another one of those blanket flowers. And you can see this one is predominantly red, where the one I have out here in the center garden is predominantly orange and yellow. So I'm looking forward to seeing this one. I'm going to plant it somewhere over here close to the house. I am tackling these weeds and cutting back some things that are finished blooming. You know, I'm saving the seed off of this foxglove and it's drying up, so that's the reason it's still here. But today I am going to do a little cleaning in this area and go ahead and plant these new plants that we got right here as you're coming out the door. The mint is just going wild, so I'm going to cut some of that back and dry it out. And the passion flower, it's come up in a few places. Now those passion flowers, you know, I do dry those leaves for tea. So they're beneficial as well as beautiful. You know, they do double duty in the garden. That time and that little watering can was a good decision. It is looking cute. I like it. There's some fresh raspberry popping up here and there, and I'll cut that back for tea. That Queen Anne's lace really liked that little rain shower that came. That thing, look at that. Look at the blooms on that one little Queen Anne's lace. It's amazing. Aha, I have a pest. Right here's the culprit. I've had some things nibbling. Now I know. It's a little bug, a little beetle. I've got some beetles out here nibbling. I thought all that damage could not be slugs. It had to be something that was climbing higher, and now I see it's a beetle. It's a little chilly. I had to come and get back under my blanket here on the porch. I don't sit out here much. You know, I'm in a neighborhood of close houses, and sometimes when you get out, I garden a lot, but when I get out here, sometimes there's a lot going on the weekends. This is early on Sunday morning, so there's not too many people stirring. But I'm finding it a little chilly this morning. It's probably in the 50s. Still listening to the birds, looking over what is out here in this garden. I've got, you know, things that I'm going to have to concentrate on getting done. There's a lot going on at this time of the year, isn't it? It's a lot. You know, you try to enjoy the weather. You try to do things in the summer that you can't do any other time. You try to get out and enjoy the water and picnics and, outdoor events. And then you still have all of your planned. There's a bird over here in the jasmine. You try to enjoy all of your planned, all of your duties like gardening and little house updates and cleaning and cooking meals and all of the things that we have to do on a daily basis. Cutting the grass. We don't have a lot of grass here. Donald cuts the grass. He push mows it, but we have to keep that up. We're in a community and we're in the city, so if you don't keep your grass at a certain level, you get a letter from the city, but we've never got a letter. Donald, he's up on the grass. And I'm trying to stay up on my flower gardens between the sweltering heat, torrential downpours, and then this morning we have a chill. Trying to work everything in and trying to get out here when you can do it has been a little bit of a challenge, It's not, there's no perfection, is it? It's all, working around your circumstances and doing what you can with what you have. I didn't add very much to the garden this year, I tell you. They were so full that I didn't really have to add a lot. I do have some things over there, seedlings, that I'm going to have to work in or give away because it's past time to plant them. So that's something I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to... And I did want to get over there and clean up the potting area. It's starting to look a little crazy over there, It's a little out of hand. I try to keep it presentable. But every gardener needs a workspace. Everybody needs a space that gardens. If they repot plants, they need a table or an area to do that. And extra pots and soil and plants that you have rooting and plants that you have growing. You need that space to do it. And so I've etched out that little area over there, and I've shown y'all that before. That little area there beside the driveway. And I've got to get that cleaned up. That's on the chore list. I still have cans of paint and things from when I decorated for Memorial Day, when I decorated the front porch. This garden here, the way Donald laid it out, and I love the way he laid it out. It comes off of the steps, and it has this little peak, and we try to put some kind of showcased tree or plant right here in a pot. This one we've had for quite a few years. And when they get too big for their pots, we put them right out here in the garden. That's what this little tree is. This little tree used to be in a pot there beside the porch, but he got so big that we had to move him out here. And now he's a little ornamental tree out here in our garden. And he's beautiful and we love him. We're, excited. I think we gave $6 for that years and years ago, and it grew right over here in a pot just like this one is. And so now we try to pick things that we can incorporate into the landscape when they get too big for their pot. I think this one can stay in here this year, but it'll have to come out of its pot soon because it's getting big. But what I was trying to explain to you and share with you about this garden, when Donald laid this out with a water hose years and years ago, it comes off of the steps and it has this little peak that showcases this little ornamental specimen tree that we have in a pot. And, we change those out as needed. And then the layout is a little curve, and then it curves out. And then over here, there's another little outcropping of the rocks, which is hard to see because I've got these plants down here that a beetle has been chomping on. But I have these plants here that are covering up where this other outcropping is, where it curves back and then it comes back out. And then we have another pot here. And this is a shaded area, so we never have, you know, the same things planted. Like that showcased area, that specimen little tree in that pot would never be the same as this specimen plant in this pot, because this is a shaded area and it's over here to the corner. But I like the way he's made these little outcroppings for the specimen plants that we've got in our pots. And then the rocks go back, and they go back out, and they go around. Now they are all the way around on this side garden. This side garden did not used to be as grown in as it is now. This is our shaded area right now. And I've got to get out here and put some top dressing on this little Norfolk Island pine. Get it straightened up. It's bending over in its pot. But over here we have a lot of ivy. And then we had azaleas here at one point, but Donald's taken them down because they were growing up against the house and they were causing that bottom piece of the siding to buckle. So he just went ahead and took those azaleas down from right there. It held too much moisture against the house, so he's pulled plants completely away from the house except the ivy, and we're trying to keep that ivy from growing up the house. We've never wanted it to do that because as beautiful as that is, that English ivy can really damage your side, and it can damage buildings. So we try to keep that pulled away. But you can see the rocks, they do go on around. They are covered by ivy, but they are here. So there's a little bit of work maybe to expose those, this, you know, line of the garden with the rock border. We might have to do a little bit more work to clean this up. But I have used this space. I've been using this space, and I don't have a garage or a greenhouse that's big enough to work in. So what I do is I just use this corner of the house to, there's that beautiful plant. I've got to get that repotted. That pink wandering dew. But I have got to, some of the house plants, they come out here and they sit here. I've got to get out here and organize this. But I've been working here so much that I hadn't had time to organize it. Of course, here's my compost and potting soil mix that I mix up and I use. Extra pots and things. And I have got to get out here and get all this cleaned up. It won't clean itself. I'll have to pencil in time to get that done. Most people don't show you these areas that they work in, but to me it's just as much part of gardening as all the rest of it. And I can see where some beetles have been chowing on these sweet potato vines I've got in here, and I wanted to transplant that tomato out of this potted plant that came up into this potted plant. But you know, I may leave it. I may just leave that tomato in there and see what we can do with that, see what happens. That would be a garden adventure. I have a few bushes. Of course, I have that crepe myrtle that I started. So I have another crepe myrtle, and I have, you know, this snowball bush that I've started. And these things are big enough to go ahead and find a permanent home for them, but I haven't done that yet. I've yet to do that. There is a lot of physical work that goes into gardening, but there's also a lot of mental planning, I'm telling you. And I have an evolving plan. You know, I didn't sit back and just make a plan for this garden. This garden has evolved. It's just evolved over time with things that I enjoy and things that I've tried, and it looks very different from year to year. I want to share with you a picture of our house when we first moved in. I'll share with you the way the house looked when we first moved into it. Our oldest son was 10 months old. That's the house. You see, there was no landscaping. It was just bare bones. And I think in the backyard, it was just red mud. I'll show you another side of the house. That was our car. We had a yellow Volkswagen Beetle, and we had a blue Volkswagen Beetle. When we first got married, oh, isn't it amazing to look back on old pictures and just see the cars, the difference in them, and the difference in the house. You know, you can just see the house is there's no trees or anything planted around it. It was a kind of a tan color. We've changed the roof several times since this photo. We've probably painted it 4 times since this photo. And that's the time we had it painted a lighter color. But you can see the landscaping was not very much. It was very, very minimal. Very minimal landscaping. I think this house may have been a year or 2 years old when we bought it. And then when I pan this back and you look, and I'll show you the landscaping. I know the hose is out, and it's my blanket where I've sit this morning is out. So it's a little messy, but you can just see the difference. I'll back up and just let you see the difference in the landscaping since we moved here. From those 2 pictures, or those 3 pictures that I just showed you of the way the house looked. And now to see the house like it is today. All of the work over the years to get these gardens where we want them. This just can give you an idea of the work that's been put into this house, these gardens. Slowly over the years to make it what we wanted it to be, for it to be the best that it could be. Here's the front shot. You know, I showed you the first photo that had the front shot that was not very many plants or very much growing. And of course, then we have the driveway area over here. And those gardens do need a little work. And we have the front of the house, and then the driveway that's always been here since we moved here on this side. And that's the shot that I showed you that we had the Volkswagen sitting in. It was just this little driveway. And then it was, barely anything here. And that's the work that we've done on these gardens over the years. That's the before and the after. And of course, it's changed over the years. The different plants and different things have changed. And I absolutely love that blue statice plant with this house, the color of this house the way it is right now. I adore that. It's beautiful. It's so hard to find a blue flower for me that grows. I think I'll research and find more blue flowers, but isn't that beautiful? Isn't the color of that just outstanding? It's coming across a little bit purple on the camera, but in reality it is the same tone of blue as the house, but maybe just a little bit lighter. Just not a lighter tone, but just a lighter version, you know. The house is just slightly darker. But to me, that is beautiful. That is bringing joy. The rock border that we've carried rocks from families' properties over the years. There's rocks from my father's farm, and he's passed away now. He's no longer here. But I remember going and gathering some of those rocks on his farm. And the time spent with him, talking to him when I did that. And then the rocks that I gathered from my sister and her husband's property, and from other friends' properties. And so this border is a sentimental border as well as a beautiful border. It's very pleasing to me. I love it. I can imagine having any other border for my garden, because this is just fits who I am. But the work that me and Donald has done, carrying rock by rock, and the years that it took to get that border to this point, certainly ties in sentimentality and meaning into this garden more than it would if we just had loads of stone delivered. It has much more sentimental value because we picked those up on family and friends' property, and we spent time with those family and friends when we did those things. And it just adds value to my garden. It adds value to my home because it's that way. And that may be unnecessary to a lot of people, but it's what builds my life, and it's what makes home for me. And then all of the things that for years and years, I could not afford to put any money into plants. We were raising a family, and most of the time it was on one income. Donald worked, and he was a great provider, and I was a homemaker. I did have many jobs that I would step out in times and go and do. And I was in management. I would manage property or restaurants or whatever came my way. I did clean. I did have a little cleaning business there for a while, and I enjoyed that. But my true heart was always taking care of my children and being at home. And so that's what I put the majority of my time in. Donald and I are high school sweethearts, and we have really been through a lot of things over the years, been through a lot of things. Out of the almost 40 years that we've been married, we've probably had about 3 really bad years. But we have made it, we have overcome, and that's what most good marriages do. It's not that they don't have problems, that people don't have problems. It's just they overcome them. And they stick in there and they work through them. And that's been the case for us. But we've built these gardens, and we've built them with love. And over the years, now I can maybe afford a little more plants than I usually do, but I still am careful about what I buy to go out here. A lot of things still comes from friends, and you know, Donald and I forage a lot. Like this milkweed, this beautiful orange milkweed. A lot of people call Pleurisy root. When we were growing up, this was Pleurisy root. This was good for infections around the heart. It was an herb, and we used it in our family. But Donald and I foraged this off of the side of the road many, many years ago, and it comes from a root cutting. And we put some here. That one's doing great right now. It's in bloom. I don't use this very often as an herb, but I love the beauty of it, and the pollinators love it. We have some over here. It bloomed earlier. I think I did show that on a previous video. And then we have some here, which is harder to see. It's not in full sun quite as much as the other two, but it's a little behind, so it'll be blooming soon. It may not have a lot of blooms on it, but we've foraged that Pleurisy root. We foraged these daylilies. I grew these echinacea from seeds, and I use that plant. That's a plant I use a lot. I use the flower, the leaves, and the root of that echinacea, and I value that. That's a much valued plant and flower in my garden. Certainly love the beauty of it. How beautiful. Now these lilies here, Donald's grandma gave to us, and she called them mole plants. She believed they had the property to keep moles out of her garden. That's what Donald said. That's the reason she called it a mole plant. And of course, that'll have orange blooms on it, and it's beautiful. And when that opens up, I look forward to sharing that with you so you can see those beautiful orange blooms. But she gave us those, and at one time I had mass plantings of these. You can see there, here are some little, I'm not sure what these are, if these are seeds or little bulbs, but they grow here in the corner of this lily. And I just take these off and plant them, and they'll make a new plant. It takes about 2 years for them to get a good size. But of course I thinned these out and just left a few here, down here where they can get full sun. A few things I've ordered over the way. And I've got to put more water in these flowers that we repotted in the video, where I repotted those hanging baskets. I gotta make sure I do not let these things dry out. I may have to rethink those hanging baskets next year. They're not faring well. And I'm even gonna have to repot some of these. Rethink these up here, because this impatient is just struggling. That's how it looks after the rain. And so I'm gonna have to work on getting these watered better. Some beautiful daisies down in here. That's kind of secret. They're kind of hidden behind all this passion flower. And of course, I'm constantly trimming this passion flower back. But that's also an herbal plant that I use in my teas and different things. And I've shared with you the making of the jam that I do with the fruits. So this is not only a beautiful ornamental plant in my garden, it's also part of my apothecary, it's part of my tea cabinet, it's something I use. And of course there's the sentimental things that I have in my garden. My birthday Queen Anne's lace that I love. Now these are dried up, and I'm gonna have to watch these carefully so I can clip them off and save the seeds. These here will be seed heads, and that'll be next year's flowers. Hopefully I can get a few more. I only had 2 to come back this year. This one big one here, and then this one tiny one over on the other side, which was probably a new seed from last year. But Donald dug those up for me. He foraged those also, and he brought home a mass amount for me last year, and we planted it in the center garden. And that was a birthday gift, my last year's birthday gift, and I loved it. And I only had 2 plants to come back. We try to get it to grow in different areas. But I'm thankful for the 2 that came back. They're beautiful, bring beauty enjoy again this year. Just a sentimental garden, those two little robins. Love to share it, love to share the beauty of it, the simple beauty. It is not perfect by any means, not perfect by any means, but beautiful and enjoyable and sentimental all at the same time. That little bee having breakfast this morning, little honeybee. I don't want to bother it too much. Just goes to show you, even in the city, you can enjoy the birds. A lot of bird song this morning. You can bake a plain and simple little house into what you can enjoy wherever you're at. Even if you're in an apartment and you have a little balcony, you can get some pots. Plant you some beautiful flowers, give them water. Some may not make it, and that's how you learn what you want to grow and what you don't want to grow. But you can garden anywhere you're at, even if it's a little potted plant inside your house. Well, I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to sign off and let y'all continue with your good day. Thank you for joining me this morning in my garden musings and my memories of before and after, when the garden started and the way it is now. Thank you for sharing the joy that I have in this. And like always, until next time.